Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome. I hope everybody is doing well tonight. My name is Rick Utzer here, and this is AirgunwebTV Live, and we are going to talk air guns, guys. We've already got some questions stacking up. So, first of all, I'm not quite sure where time is going to be, but in order for me to get in here and kind of get set up, I may be pushing the show back to 7 o'clock Mountain, or at least quarter of 7 Mountain. We'll see. I'm not quite sure on that, but we'll... I'll try and get up there and post it where you guys can at least know it's coming. And once we get sort of locked in, then the time's not going to change. So let's deal with a little housekeeping first of all. So last week, I was letting everybody know that the contest is alive and well. I got out, put the gun together, I did some shooting, but I hadn't actually built the page. Well, real quick, let me show you. We do have the contest live. So first and foremost, I want to let people know they can go and sign up for the opportunity to win this giveaway that we got going on. So let me transition over to that page. Okay, so if you look here, it is gatewaytoairguns.com. Notice that up there, guys. And then right here, this very first link is the GTA PCP Holiday Giveaway. Go ahead and click that. Now, this is, I know that this may be different as to how the GTA has done giveaways and contests in the past, but this is the way we're going to be doing it going forward, and there's reasons for that I don't want to bore you with. But let's go ahead and agree to these terms, and as you see here, we've got pictures of what you're going to be entering to win. There's the Origin rifle, there's a really awesome Hawk scope, and also we have the compressor from JTS, and Airgun Pro Shop is going to donate the setup, hard shell case, and 1,000 rounds of ammo to go with the gun. So whoever wins this is going to be getting an awesome holiday package. And all you need to do to enter is simply, let's see if we go back up here to the top. Just go here, and it's really simple. I've already entered, so I can't do it again. But you can, let's say, hit join newsletter. You put your name, last name, email address. You do have to enter in or confirm it, excuse me, and then you're set. Now, one of the things we've had a couple people mention that I want to kind of respond to. Oh, by the way, you can also do Facebook. You can just visit the forum. Just visiting the forum counts. Umrex, visit our sponsors, all the various sponsors, and all of these are ways that you can enter. And if you do all of them, you get more points than if you just do one, and you know how it works. If we go down here, see how it says your entry 0? There's an issue with browser cookies. There's no way I can fix this. So if you have, don't allow cookies on your browser, then it's not going to work. If you hit the sign in button, it's going to ask for a password that you haven't created yet. So you could, if you click this, you can actually hit forgot your password, set up a password, and then you'd actually be able to log in and see what's going on. So I understand that this is a little bit finicky, but it is just the nature of the way things work these days. So please go to gatewaytoairguns.com and fill out, sign up through any one of these ways you want to do it, and you're going to be entered. Obviously, we've got a bunch of time left on this, which is cool. We want to get a lot of people entered in. It's good for our sponsors, certainly good for the GTA, and hopefully good for somebody. I know it's going to be good for somebody because they're going to win an awesome air gun. So before we jump into some products, I got a product we're going to talk about today. Let's go ahead and see if we have any initial questions and go from there. Let's see. Kyle got a good question right off the bat. Have I ever had a chance to shoot the Sumatra 2500 177? No, I haven't, but I would agree with you that could be a very good 177 slug gun. That would be one that I would definitely want to check out. On another note, I had some people recently talking about volume hasn't been great. Hopefully tonight's volume is fine. I'm running some stuff, same mic, but just running things through a different processor. If I can not have to wear a headset and mic, that would be wonderful. If I have to do that, obviously I'll do it. But if I don't have to, even the better. So let me know if there's any issues um, with the audio. Mark, I like oatmeal cookies too. Oatmeal and cranberry, actually. Save the raisins, but oatmeal and cranberry cookies I really like. All right, let's see. Dave, I hope you're doing well. In fact, I was going to ask you, Dave Farrow, I was going to ask him how that compressor was working out, if it's still holding up or if it's crapped to the bed as the last one did. I'm curious on that one. Please let me know when you can. Let's see. Kyle, you're still working on your recluse to get done. Okay. I'll be curious. Let me know how that works out when you get it. I'm curious how that goes. Daniel, reach out to me via email about the entry and let me know what snags you ran into. It may be that you did enter. In fact, I can probably, I can go back and actually look at all the entries. So if you have a question, did my entry work? You should get an email saying you've been entered. So if you have a question, even if you can't see the number, just let me know and I can go check for you. Good. I'm glad everything is going good on the audio. As far as the DAR, I'm actually shooting that video tomorrow. I hope to. And then that'll be a grip review. So that'll be coming out on the Gateway to Airguns. Probably first going to be coming out in the GTA over in the ARC and in the grip review section. But we'll play that by ear. I'll let you guys know when that hits. But I hope to film that tomorrow. We were shooting that the other day. We had a gentleman out. Michael came out to do some shooting last week. And the DAR was one of the guns I put and let him do some shooting with. And he said he liked it quite a bit. So very good gun for the money. And I can kind of maybe break that down as to why that shoots a little bit better than other $300 air guns a little later if anybody wants to know why. But they have the ability to provide more value because it's direct to consumer, manufacturer to consumer, rather than going through a couple different layers in between. And I can explain how all that works if you guys care. Mark, on the red dot, Hot Sun 30, I don't remember. I don't remember on that. So my guess is that any red dot on like a Hot Sun, if you talk about the 30 Springer, is probably going to get destroyed over time. It's just my guess. I don't know for sure, but it is my guess. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about what I wanted to do, what I want to talk about tonight. So let's say you want to hunt day or night. You're not concerned about getting footage. You're not a content creator trying to capture your hunts on film, but you want to be effective. And you don't want to go spend a lot of money on like a night vision scope because maybe it's not as good as what you may want to run during the day. Maybe you're into precision shooting, but you still want to be able to take something at night in a pinch, or deal with predators or pests or whatever, without having to change optics on your gun. So this is a product I actually looked at back in March. It's been a while. And OldPro is the name of the company. So if you go to oldpro.com, no, first of all, the links are in the video description. So if you want to take a look at those, please do. Anyway, they sent me one of their lights, and this was, when I looked at it originally, I kind of didn't know what I was looking at. I was doing an unboxing raw. I mean, just out of the box, I didn't know really what I was getting into with regards to the product. But now that I've had a little time to work with it, I can talk far more intelligently about it. So I wanted to do that tonight because I really think it's really a very cool product. And this isn't their term. This is my term. I call it a universal spotting light. And I use the term universal because it does a lot. I use it just as a flashlight. And now I'm going to be using it to mount on my gun as a way to spot. And it has some little neat tricks up its sleeve that I wanted to talk about tonight. So first of all, this is the box. Let me go ahead. I'm going to switch cameras here. And if you guys have questions, I think there's questions. I'll do the best I can to answer them. It looks like one gentleman was talking about, and I'll get to that question in the other reviews because I've got a bunch that we're going to be working on. And we got more questions going on here. So I will try and keep up. So first, let me jump onto the questions. We'll get back to the light. As far as what are the reviews coming up, I'm working on the head-to-head-to-head with the Scamo Swarm, the Hotson Speedfire, and the Crossman Magfire. So I've got all of those in process. Let me tell my daughter I'm in a show. In a show, honey. 14-year-olds. They just sometimes don't realize that they're interrupting things. All right, so so I've got that video I'm going to be working on. I've also got a I've got a series going back to the Gauntlet 2 Avenger, that sort of head-to-head, but I'm also going to add in the Origin 22 that doesn't have the pump, and also the DAR. So that one's going to be a little bit more involved as I work through those. So those videos are coming out. I've got some other content that will kind of come out for the holidays. So, and then I've got some stuff that's very cool that I can't tell you guys about yet, but I will be dropping videos as soon as I'm allowed to do so. I'll be dropping videos on it. And of course, I'll be working on the SWA stuff. We've been really trying to get a hunt on film that hasn't worked out, so I'm just going to follow through on just some technical videos on that whole line, the 20-gauge shotguns, because they're awesome, and I would love for more people to know about them. So we're going to be working on all of that stuff. There's a lot of things in the mix, maybe some compressor videos too. So I've got a lot of stuff that way that we're going to be getting to. Other questions that just came through. I have an Ottoman rifle and a 4,500 PSI air tank. What compressor do you recommend? Don't buy cheap. I would probably say, at the very least, an Air Venturi. Expect that it is a product you will, it's a consumable product. It's not going to last for 10, 20 years. So just kind of go into it understanding if you have enough money to spend like right up front and you're going to shoot a lot and you're going to be filling that 4,500 tank a lot, then I would, if you got it to spend it, just buy an Alkin and call it a day. Or if you want to, let's switch back cameras. Or if you want something that's a little less money, if you can get a day state compressor, that's pretty good too. But it is 1 CFM, and it does push the compressor really hard. If you have a big 4,500 PSI tank, it'll do it. Don't get me wrong, it'll do it. But it is a lot of wear and tear on the compressor, where the Alkin at 3.5 or up CFM fills that tank very, very quickly. So you're not driving the compressor nearly as hard. So that may be an option too. So anyway, so I would say don't buy cheap. If you're going to be filling a 4,500 PSI bottle, it's a large bottle. Like if you're doing a pony bottle, Air Venturi compressors are a great option. It's just $1,500. It is what it is as far as price goes, but that would be a really solid unit. Okay. Let's see. All right. So let me go ahead and get back to the light here. Okay. So what we have here, and I've got it over here. I'm going to show something. All right. So this is the light. Now, when I first looked at this, I actually thought it was going to be much bigger. I thought it was going to be like a more of a larger handheld light. But this guy, it actually is relatively compact. The focus is back here, and the reason is because you can actually replace the LED itself. Now, some of these lights come with filters you put on it, but there's a big difference between throwing a filter on the top of a front end of a light and actually swapping out the LED. And you can take this apart here, and you have the LED module right here. So it's kind of hard trying to see if I can show you that. It's hard just with the lighting here. I apologize. Anyway, so let's kind of look at what's in the box here. Now I do have a couple extra batteries. It comes with a battery, comes with a charger. I've got some batteries charging up over there. I use this light to around the ranch to walk the dogs and stuff, so it gets a good bit of use. So you have your light, charger and stuff goes here. It uses, your standard rechargeables here. Let me pop this open. What are these? I want to say 16 somethings, but I don't know if they're the 16550s or what they are. Yeah, 18650, excuse me. So it's 18650. Drop that in the light. I think it just takes one. Oh, yeah, it's going to be... Yeah, there it is. Those are some extra O-rings too, all right? So you have a light, one battery, and it goes a good time. It goes a good length of time. It has high, low, strobe, all of that's, all your typical stuff. When I first looked at this before, I didn't think it was that terribly bright. Of course, I was in the studio, I hadn't charged the batteries. Now that I've had some time with it, it is very, very bright. I mean, it'll light up my 100-yard range with this little bitty light. So that's impressive. Now, here's the cool thing you have, which each of these, you have the LEDs. So here's a red LED, and you have a green LED. Okay. And then you have your IR. So if you do run night vision stuff and you want to run use this as an IR illuminator, you can do all of that. All of that in one unit, which I think is very, very cool. So the other thing it comes with, which I had never really unboxed, and this is where I kind of got the idea of today's video. Let me set this aside. I grabbed the first scope that I had available. And so this is one of my favorite Hawk scopes of all time. This is a Hawk Sidewinder 4.5 to 14. They don't make this one anymore, but I really liked it because it didn't have a huge objective. And I know that seems counterintuitive, people with these big fat objectives, but I wanted something narrower. This is just a beautiful scope. It's heavy, well built, and they don't make it anymore. It's kind of a bummer. Anyway, I liked it because it works good on a lot of different platforms. But in the box, you get this little clamp doohickey. So let me see here. I'm just going to try and keep track of as far as the compressors, I can get the Alkin compressor, excuse me. And if you want, to talk compressors personally, just give me a call. Give me a ring, and I'll be happy to get on the phone with you. And if I don't have it, I can point you in the right direction where you can get it and get it at a fair price. Okay. So here's the cool thing about this mount. So if I wanted to use this to hunt with, once I have mounted this to my scope, now when I look through the reticle and I crank on the light, not strobe light, that would stink. Okay, and I crank on the light, then I'm actually going to be able to see, the crosshairs will actually show up on whatever I'm looking through. It's just like daytime. So this is a great way if you just want to get out and be able to see in a pinch, where you just need to illuminate a pest or just do something quickly. This actually works really well. In the box, I can't stand them, but a lot of people, I guess, like them. It also has a pressure switch. So if you want to rig it up with a pressure switch on your AR or your Airgun or whatever you want to do, you can certainly do that. I don't particularly care for pressure switches, but that's just me. Let's see here. It does come with it in case you guys want to use it. So this flashlight rig, and it comes with the light, the clamp, a battery charger. It actually has a barrel mount too. All of this is, again, in the box. And links to all of this Heath, I can help you with the GTA stuff. Just email me directly. If you guys can remember, if you have problems with any of that, my email's easy. It's rick@gatewaytoairguns.com or gatewaytoairguns.org. That's easy. If you just email me there, then I can work with the admins and whatever's going on screw, we can get it sorted out. So if you have a gun where you want to mount it right on the barrel, shotgun or whatever, it does come with this. That might be a little thin for a shotgun, but it does come with a clamp where you can mount it onto something, and then this will hold your light. So it does come with this as well. So everything you need to use this is right in the case, which I think is pretty cool. It's not cheap, although in the scheme of things, in the sense of firearms accessories, it's really, I don't think that expensive either. It's $112 for the whole rig, and that's charger, battery, all the LEDs, the clamps, everything you need to make this thing do what you want. All in the box for about 115 bucks. I think that's a really, really cool deal. All right, so I wanted to show that to you guys tonight in case any of you guys out there were wanting to be able to rig up your airgun to see at night, in the sense of illuminating your surroundings with white light or red light or green light, and not concerned about trying to film, but just being able to get, you deal with a pest situation or a varmint or a predator situation. You can do that very quickly with something like this. Just simple, just works, and it's, I think, affordable. Okay, let's see if we got any more questions here. So, Jeremiah, first of all, Jeremiah's up here. Jeremiah's Bullfrog Airguns. Jeremiah, this came in, just so you know. I'll be getting to that probably by the weekend or so, and be able to get that back out to you next week. And that other thing I'll be able to put in a box, get that out to you too. So be on the lookout for that. Let's see. If you've got a leaky cattleman gun, you may be struggling, and I don't know what they're doing right now to help with support. So try reaching out to them best you can. But if it's leaking, you may just be you may be in trouble. Let's see. You guys can work that stuff. You guys are just talking about that stuff. Heath, again, on the GTA side, just email me personally. It's Rick at gatewaytoairguns.org or gatewaytoairguns.com. Will both come to me, and we'll figure out what's happening. If it's a password reset, that's the easy thing to do. Let's see. Good. Backroads is talking about if you like this kind of light or this light, you don't need the IR. You can get it for about half the price. That would be a good deal. I do hunt with like the AT&T Optic, and their bundled IR is not. It's okay, but it's not awesome. This is a very good IR light. So if you want a little more gas in the tank IR wise, and that's something you may do, getting all of that together is kind of a cool option. So, all right. Let's see. A budget rifle EBR would be great. Well, here's a good question. There's a couple things that I would love to see and maybe even do. Maybe this is something the GTA could work to pull off, okay? Back in the day, well, how can I put it? My experience with, say, Field Target, just saying, or Extreme Bench Rest, is that a lot of times it comes down to how much cash you have to put into your gear, and those that have more cash tend to do better. Now, obviously, it's the shooter behind the trigger, but equipment in these precision type fields does matter. What if we had competitions that leveraged the shooter more than it, say, leveraged the equipment? Back a while ago, this is back when we were doing AirgunwebTV, and you can probably go back and see some of the old episodes, AirgunWeb TV. It's YouTube/AirgunwebTV. We're republishing all of them. But I worked with Umrex for a little bit. We created something called CO2 Field Target, and it was, instead of 60 yards, we went to 30 yards. We shot just CO2 guns, specifically the Fusion, and everything was low cost, unmodified type products that really, then all of a sudden it became more shooter based than equipment based. That I thought was very fun, and I would love to see that done more widely. I bet you'd get more people involved if they didn't have to spend a few $1,000s just to be competitive. If I'm going to go try and compete, I want to be competitive, and I would want to be competitive. I wouldn't want to just go and have absolutely no chance, not even have any chance at all to place or do well, because I just didn't have the thousands to put into the equipment to place. So I think that having something that focuses on a price point or a budget, like a $500 or under class, something for the gun anyway, might be a lot of fun and encourage people to get more involved. And look, there's got to be an unlimited class. There's got to be all of that stuff. Maybe something we can do with like a GTA fun shoot is do an EBR or a version of an extreme bench rest with, all the guns have to be under a certain amount of money. Or if, say, it was sponsored by a particular gun manufacturer, say Umrex wanted to do it, they would give us 5 G2s, Gauntlet 2s, and all set up in identical ways. And then people had to shoot those guns. And that might be fun too, where it really is then purely about the shooter and not about the equipment. I think that would be a pretty wild way to do a competition. I would love to do more of that kind of stuff and get away from the whoever's got the fattest wallet wins kind of perspective. I think, anyway, I don't know what you guys think about that, but I think if we could do a GTA fun shootout here, and do something where we had those types of competitions where everything was for the average air gunner to be able to be competitive. It takes the wallet out of the equation. I think that would be freaking awesome. So let me know what you guys think about that as a concept, because I think that would be very, very cool. Let's see. Do you think Bone Collector 2 will be available? That's a current product, so Gammo should have those. They may be out of stock, but I would imagine they're going to have them. I just had a conversation with them today on some content I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to be focusing on the Gen 2 Swarm Magnum, and I'll have some stuff coming out before the end of the year on that. I may actually want to go do a hunt with that gun around the ranch here. So we either take some collared doves or some jackrabbits or something. Might be fun. Let's see. The lumens on this light. It's a good question. I was probably going to have that on the product page. Let me kick over to that. I actually had it pulled up. So this is the light here I was talking about. They're going to show us lumens. It's 800 lumen, which is not a lot, really. It's kind of a lower end as far as output. Doesn't seem very bright. Certainly seems a lot brighter than that when I'm looking at it out on my field or when I'm walking around. But that's what they say down here. I would have thought it was a lot more than that. But that's according to their numbers. We'll go by their numbers here. It says 800 lumens, so that's what we're going to go with. But I just think it's more than that. But hey, let's see. Wait. They've got all the parameters here on the website, on the Amazon link. So if you want to know more specifics, again, the link to this is right in the video description. You guys know, I mean, I'm not making anything off of this, so it's not like that's an affiliate link to me. It's their shortened link, but it's not like, I need you to click this so Rick gets paid. I'm not getting paid anything for this. So anyway, if you want to know more about the site, the light, there you go. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I think, we're set up here as far as hosting stuff here. Now, Brian, I talked about Brian last week, and I don't know if you're up here, Brian, but he's going to be coming out, and he's going to be hopefully bringing some equipment out to improve our range. So, I think that it's going to be for the love of the sport on some people that just come out and want to help make the facility more acceptable to that kind of thing. But I've got 20 acres here I can do whatever I want to with, and we're out in the middle of nowhere, so we have no limits that way. I'm looking to try and increase the range to 150 yards, get the banks where they're tall enough to stop things from leaving the range. So if there are volunteers that are willing to come out and help do some work, that'd be great. But I think that ultimately what we're going to have is the ability to have events right here, and people will be able to park RVs and dry camp, or there's a hotel just down the road. Well, I say just down the road. It's an hour away, but it's a decent hotel, or it's a nice place to stay. So I think there'll be opportunity for us to do things out here and have lots of people come out and just have a good time enjoying air guns and fellowshipping with each other and having a good time with it. So let's see how that plays out. I'm hopeful. Let's see if we got some more questions here. Let's see. All right, Heath. I'm glad you like that idea of the sort of budget competitions. I think that would be awesome. Let's see how that plays out. Are the 0dB suppressors good? I've found them to be decent. I haven't done a suppressor versus suppressor comparison. Frankly, that probably would be lost on me. My ears are pretty much shot anyway. So I don't, unless I got a dB meter and I'm actually putting it on, really doing some serious measurement, I would not be able to tell much of a difference other than it takes the bark out, takes the top off. But the 0dBs I've shot have been really good. Now compare that to maybe a Donnie FL or Neil Clegg or some of these other ones, or TKO 22. They all work. And I would have to use a meter to see how well they work versus another one, but they all work pretty well. I think the 0dB moderators are a good product, personally. I haven't shot the Bullpup Avenger yet, but as soon as we're able to have some content on that, we will be coming out with it. People forget I'm on a live. This is Angie, by the way. We can say hi, Angie. Angie is texting me. It looks like Angie's going to have a video. She just texted me. See, there's Angie. There it is. She is going to be, she's got a video coming out of the Evanex Airspeed 30 cal semi-automatic. She's done a pellet test. I haven't seen the video yet, but be on the lookout for that. I don't know when that'll drop, but I think it's going to drop pretty soon. It may even be tomorrow. I don't know, but you'll get, if you subscribe to AirgunWeb, then you're going to get notified. If you subscribe, they have the notification button, and you'll get notified of when we have new stuff coming out. And Angie posts a lot of stuff on my channel, so because I asked her to. So we should hopefully have that very soon, followed by the DAR and the other things we talked about. Okay, let's see. Fellowship Shoot would be a great name for it. Yeah, David, I think it would be cool. I was thinking today, forgive me if I go on a little bit of a soapbox, so you guys indulge me for a moment. I was thinking today about how we could really change things in our community, and I mean the airgun community as a whole. And I'm hopeful that over the next year, we can see some, if not, changes from manufacturers and vendors change. as a user base, have some changes that would be far more inclusive of one another, inclusive of different ideas and opinions, because you may have a different way of doing things and you think that's the way it should be done. I may have a different opinion and different experience doing things very differently. And if we both get the results we are looking for, does it really matter if I do it your way or you do it my way? No, it really doesn't. So I'm hopeful that as we go forward in the next year and hopefully beyond, that we can be more inclusive of one another. And I'm hopeful that the GTA will be that. And for those that have not experienced that, please reach out to me, because I want to change that dynamic if that dynamic exists. Otherwise, I want to create something and have be part of platforms that are inclusive of brands that don't play on brand prejudice, that are inclusive of users and ideas and abilities and everything from if a person, all they want to shoot is a Daisy Red Rider and they're very happy with that, does it matter to me? Does it really matter? No, it doesn't. If they're happy with that and they're getting fun and enjoyment out of it, I'm just going to be happy that they're happy. So I'm hopeful that as we go forward, this is really what I want to see become the new norm, at least on the things that I'm involved with, that become very inclusive. And maybe everybody is, and I just miss it. But I have an inkling, given my own personal experiences, that we could all do a little work on that. And so I'm hopeful that that will be something as we go into next year. We'll see. I'll be able to help facilitate that kind of fellowship amongst airgunners. And so a fellowship shoot might be a perfect way to describe it. That would be pretty awesome. Let's see. So we'll see. Heath, we'll see what kind of ideas we have on the whole budget-friendly competitions. But I think the GTA in and of itself is a more budget-friendly forum group, and the users are more budget-minded. So I think that'll be a great way for us to really leverage and grow that community, because it's an important community. Let's see what else we got here. Mustafa, with regards to FX, it's just a matter of John over at FX. Hey, John, just send me product. I don't have anything against any brand. Okay. And I give people, even just today, I responded to another YouTube comment. Why don't you review AEA guns? Well, let me break something down of just how the channel works in general. So maybe you guys know this, maybe you don't. And if I missed a bunch of questions, forgive me. I will try and get back to them. And Angie, if you can just answer questions, if Angie's up here. Yeah, Angie, if you can just answer questions proactively for me, that would be awesome. But let me tell you how the channel works. And I've actually watched a guy just today in a completely different market segment talking about how his channel works. And there were years ago, a YouTuber like myself could make a little bit of money just in YouTube monetization. And what I mean by a little bit of money, we're talking a couple $100 a month. So my channel is right now getting about 300,000 views a month. That equates to about $130 in revenue from YouTube. So just think about that for a minute. The multitude of work that goes into maintaining a channel or channels like I have, it's a full-time job. All right. So full-time job, YouTube money, $150. Obviously, that is not a sustainable model. I'm not independently wealthy, and I can just do this for fun and don't have to worry about paying the bills, or, as it worries the wrong term, don't have to consider obligations like bill payments and credit card payments and car payments and, 14-year-old that's growing up and, a wife that needs things. And, I have, as not to mention that I am also head of our ministry ranch here, so I have a lot of ministerial obligations on top of everything else. So there's a lot that I have to consider. So where then does the rest of the revenue come from to be able to keep the channel going and have content creators like Angie on staff and my sister who does, she edits these when I give them to her, and I'm late giving them to her, but she edits these and then does the publication. So I have different people that actually do work that has to be done that I just simply don't have time to do. So where does the revenue come from to make that happen? Well, in the very beginning, I just subsidized everything myself. And this was before I had folks like Angie and my sister and others working for me. But I had another business. I took money from that business to build this business. Now this business is built up, and I'm able to share some of that revenue with folks like Angie and my sister and so forth. That money comes through sponsors. So let's take Gammo as a big sponsor. Umrex is a sponsor. Pyramid Air is a sponsor. There's JSB is a sponsor. Air Arms is a sponsor. Hawk is a sponsor. ATN is a sponsor. I have all of these folks that have agreed to provide revenue that allows me to continue producing the content that we produce. If a person say, hey, why don't you review an AEA gun? Well, where is that coming from? If AEA doesn't provide the product, we have to then buy the product. If I'm buying a product to then review a product that benefits that product, and I have, how would that make the people? I have sponsors that are paying for me to engage with their product and tell you guys about it. How would that make them feel if I just did something for free, quote unquote, for somebody else, but then charge them? That's not fair, is it? I don't think that's fair. I don't think that would be, if I was a sponsor of a channel paying them an amount of money to keep the channel going, create content regularly, and then I saw a competitor of mine getting free work, that would frankly piss me off. So if AEA wanted me to review their stuff, they could send it to me. We'd certainly evaluate it. We may even do a short video on it. But if they wanted to be a partaker of the channel as a whole, then they need to become a sponsor of the channel. And that works with any of them. I mean, that goes for any brand that wants to be part of what we're doing on a bigger scale other than a cursory look. They need to pony up, else we can't do it. We just can't afford to do it. So the world of YouTube for a YouTuber like myself or Angie or any of us Airgun folks, there's little to no money anymore in just straight monetization. If we had $10,000 a month coming in just from YouTube views and could just buy whatever we wanted and do whatever we wanted, that would be completely different. But there's never been that day in my life ever in YouTube. So I don't know how to incorporate an FX or an AEA unless those companies want to work with us. Now, those companies have a lot of people that will just do stuff for free. And I say free, it's not really free. When you give them a product, you give a content producer a product, that's an exchange of money. There may not be cash, but there's an exchange of revenue in that thing. If a company gives me like this this flashlight, they gave me this flashlight. So I agreed to tell you guys about this flashlight back in March. And that was the end of that. I'm telling you about it again today because I've been looking at it and using it, and I thought, this is pretty cool, especially now that I want to throw it on an air gun with just the mount and not have to deal with a bunch of weird night vision stuff. I just want to be able to see a pest and shoot it. So this is just Rick saying, I thought this was cool. I wanted to show you guys this again. But if we're looking at anytime there's an exchange of material, there's a value to that. There's an exchange of value both ways. And it may not be cash, but it's money. So if you have a bunch of influencers that are willing to do work for the companies and basically do it for quote nothing, they're not gonna come to me because I'm gonna charge them. I have to. I can't not charge them. And out of fairness to all of my other sponsors, I have to charge them. And so that's why you're not going to see some of these brands, because some of them are just flat out stingy. And I'm not saying that about FX. They spend a lot of money on marketing. So that's not who I'm talking about. But AEA, in my conversations with them, they were stingy. I mean, they were not. They thought they were doing me a tremendously awesome favor by me being able to promote their guns for them at my expense, and it doesn't work that way. Never is going to work that way. So I would be pleased to review them, talk about them, work with their guns, but they got to be real about it. This is a business for me. This is my livelihood. It's not a hobby. It is a hobby. I love it, but it's a livelihood, not just for me, but for others. Angie and others receive, money to help me out on this, or we couldn't do it, frankly. So let me back up here. Let me back up here and see if we have any comments on this. I wish kind of having a two-way conversation would be kind of cool. So let me get back up here. All right, so Angie hopped in here. Good. All right, so yeah, Gary, I'm glad you read her post. Yeah, so that Evanex video, Angie, I hope the video turned out good. We have a boatload, just if I could say a tiny little ad for Airgun Pro Shop. Boatload's the wrong term. Sorry, I cut my lip today. We have a bunch of 30 cal Evanex guns, semi-autos, the air speeds, and also the Max Air 2s. These have all been tested, shot, verified accurate. These guns are ready to go, and they're not going to disappoint. So these are really good guns. We have a bunch of them at Airgun Pro Shops, and we have a special running. You guys can check that out on our social media. So we have those going on. If you want a 30 cal semi-auto, we've got a bunch of them in stock, so please go take a look. And they're at the best price they've ever been. So there you go. Let's see. Yeah, you guys on the whole fellowship shoot, get out here. We'll see. I'm sure we can get Angie to come out. I think Angie would have Angie has like a permanent place to stay here, like on my property. So she's good to be here. So I would expect her to be here. Let's see. Yes, this gentleman's talking about the AEA gun being a hard pass, that it's a kit gun. Some of their new stuff, and I have people like Travis, for example. Oh, maybe I shouldn't say this. I know people that are engineers that have had good things to say of AE's recent stuff. I haven't played with it, so I don't know. Yeah, Umrex has been a great sponsor, guys. So I mean, they are solid. I look forward to a bunch of cool stuff next year. And Gammo has also been a very solid sponsor. So is Air Arms and Pyramid Air. So there's a lot of people that appreciate what we do here. So I think we have a solid base there. I'm very, 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 very grateful for. Let's see here. Let's see. I'm just trying to read through here. The Mendoza. So Scott, just backing up on something completely unrelated. Scott, the Mendoza was one of my favorite guns. Does yours have the double blade trigger? Because that was one of their cool features. I always liked that about that gun. That was a really cool gun. Somebody's got a comment on the. Well, all right. So Heath, the BSA R10 is one of my favorite air guns. I got two of them that are actually have three of them that have all blown the regs. So I was just emailing with BSA about I got to get a bunch of spare parts and rebuild all three guns because they've developed leaks. Now, a couple of them were in a batch that had bad O-rings, and so I know the O-rings have just failed and they have to be rebuilt. But I have probably half a dozen BSA PCPs that are just shot because of the bad O-rings that came through during a period of time. Once I get this rebuilt, I can't wait to shoot the R10 again. I miss my R10 a lot. It's an exquisite gun, just a beautiful gun to shoot. So I'm looking forward to getting that out again. So the Air Venturi Avenger for $300 is a good gun. No offense to Air Venturi at all. They've done a great job bringing in that very budget friendly air gun. I am curious about the long-term durability as compared to something that is more expensive. So if you look at the internals of, say, an Air Arms, and you look at the internals of an Air Venturi, there's going to be a dramatic difference. And there should be, okay? So straight up there should be, because one is $300, one $1,300. So look, I get it. There's no comparison really there. But please don't go into buying a $300 air gun and think it's going to last like a $300 firearm. It will not. There will be a lifespan. There will be a longevity to that gun, or there will be a lifespan's the right word, excuse me. There will be a shelf life. That's what I was looking for. A shelf life to that product. Not that it's a bad product. Just go into it understanding there's a shelf life on it. I'll be curious how things play out over time. I think the Air Venturi is the Avenger's a wonderful starter gun. But I think that as you get into the sport, you're gonna transition. If you really like shooting, a transition to something, an Ottoman, an Air Arms, an FX, a Raw. You're gonna transition into some of these other brands that have better made internals that last longer. Daystate, for example. So pure performance. Yeah, if I put a shot card of an Air Arms at 50 yards and a shot card of an Avenger at 50 yards, and I didn't tell you which was which, there just could be that you wouldn't be able to tell. But you would certainly tell a difference if you shot them side by side. Dramatically different guns, completely different. So, all right. Okay, I'm going to try and catch up on some of these. Gosh, I'm falling way behind, folks. I got on that tangent, and there you go. Let's see here. Jay, I got to skip over your question. So first of all, Jay, let me say this: an air gun is not the gun you want for self-defense. Just straight up. Just straight up. Period. I mean, you just don't want to do that. So it's a hard no for me. I don't care what somebody tells you. Somebody's going to say, "Oh, it'll work great." I wouldn't trust my life to it. No, sir. Not something that's 40 joules. 40 joules is nothing. No way. Like 4,000 joules, maybe. But air guns they're finicky little beasts, man. They get leaks, and you want something that's guaranteed to work when you pull the trigger, not that you hope is going to work when you pull the trigger. No, thank you. A stick or a sword's better. By God, I hope you never have to use anything. Anyway. Hey, David. Yeah, I appreciate what you're saying here. David says, Rick, all that makes perfect sense. I really wish I had more exposure across more brands. I'm hopeful that the GTA can help facilitate that, frankly, because getting back to sort of the things I was talking about earlier, the idea of inclusivity and not exclusivity, but inclusivity, if that's even a word, being more inclusive of everything so that people can just get a much broader look and view of what's out there and what could be. I would love to have that option. If we got to the place where, this is what I would love, if I had my druthers, if Rick had his druthers, I would love to have a sponsorship level, a floor, or some sort of volume of sponsorship that allowed me to just do what I do, where pick what I pick what I want to pick, review what I want to pick, that for the love of the sport, I'm able to just go do what Rick wants to do, because I think it'll be useful to the sport as a whole. I don't have that right now, and maybe through some changes and some adjustments over the next year, maybe year, 2 years, that dynamic will change. Well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I just don't. Right now, I'm very thankful to all my sponsors that I have, and I'm pleased to continue doing what I'm doing, as long as they'll have me. There you go. So here's an interesting thing. It's if you've never run a retail business where you're having to buy product and then sell it for a margin, you may not realize, you may not understand how it works. So, and if we run over time, I apologize. We may run over time, but this goes to one of the gentleman's comments here about people making money on top of things. So, one of the reasons the DAR is such a good value, when you go direct from manufacturer to consumer, it's the manufacturer has this cost. They have material costs. They have, manufacturing costs. They have marketing, shipping, infrastructure, insurances, et cetera, et cetera. They have all of these costs built in to have this product. Let's say their $300 gun that they sell retail $300. Let's just say, and I have no idea what their numbers are. I'm just guessing, okay? Just completely guessing. Let's say their costs are $150, and it's probably more, just say. But that may not cover once it lands in the States, that may not cover everything that happens from there. So they may still yet have more personnel, more infrastructure, more insurances, and so forth. But they sell it for $300. Awesome. Let's say they wanted to have dealers. Well, the dealer is going to want 30 points. So if we'll look at it this way. We're going to want to say, if it's a $100 product, the dealer is going to want to sell it for $145. Let's just say. So you've got that bump. Well, if you're at say $300, you're going to have a dealer. They're going to want to make you're going to need to make yours. So that $150 cost gun, instead of now $300 to the consumer, is going to be more like $550. What if you have a distributor and a dealer? Well, now that $150 gun is now $700 to the consumer, or $600. My math may be a little off, but I think you guys understand that every time there's another level, they're going to want their pound and a half of flesh to touch the product and then move it to the next level. And each one of those places has a purpose. So if you're a DAR and you're content to sell direct to consumer and work on low volume, high margin, low volume, then you maybe don't need a distributor that can sell high volume. Maybe you're content to have high volume or low volume, high margin. I say high in air quotes, so that you can continue developing your product, doing what you want to do, but you don't have all these layers that you have to contend with before the consumer actually can touch it. So it keeps the gun very affordable. So this $300 gun shoots more like a $600 gun because it doesn't have all these layers in there. So you take the Avenger at $300. Well, Air Venturi sort of is the manufacturer, but it's sold retail at Pyramid Air. So I can buy the Avenger as a dealer, and we have, and we make, I don't know how many points we make on it, but it's not terrible. It's okay. We do all right on that gun. All right. Which means that in order for Air Venturi to make their money, then that gun's coming in way down here. So it's a different animal. They have to somehow build it in such a way where they can get their points, sell it to a dealer that they can get their points, and then the customers still feel happy about the purchase they had for a $300 air gun. So there is going to be, they got to make that up somewhere. So that's why I say the DAR, way back in the beginning of this video, I was talking about the DAR having a lot of value because it's direct to consumer. I haven't taken it all the way apart yet, but it looks and feels and shoots very, very well. I'll be curious to take it apart and see what the internals look like as compared to, say, something else in the same price point. See the difference. That might be a cool. I can't do it on this video because I'd be touching a gun, God forbid, YouTube. But that might be a fun video to do nonetheless. All right, let's see. Oh gosh, we've got a ton more comments, and we're past the hour. So I'm just going to just back up a little bit here to see if there's any. So Mustafa, first thing, FX makes really good air guns as far as accuracy and power and adjustability, and they are really, really good. You know, my limited experience is with an older Boss I had for a while, and I struggled with that gun because it constantly had this little issue here, a little issue there. But it was, when it shot beautifully. Anyway, back up here. Will the Nomad 2 fill the DAR? I don't see why it wouldn't. I mean, that would be an easy. The DAR's only 3,000 PSI, so that would be an easy fill. Easy. Hey there, Paul. I don't know what you're looking for as far as buying direct from the manufacturer. I missed where that was coming from, so forgive me on that one. Mustafa, I really like Ottoman guns. If you haven't shot one, you need to. It's a different shooting experience because the trigger's a single stage versus double. But they are really well-built guns. Don't cut them short. I really like them. They're right up there. Air Arms is still my favorite. Michael, if you're up here watching, he shot a whole bunch of guns from $300 guns to $3,000 guns, and he settled on an Air Arms S510 regulated in 22 caliber. It's just a beautiful gun. That's just a solid gun for $1,400. Really, really good gun. All right, so I'm going to call it a night, guys. Yeah, if he had, Timmy, if you had a guy that had a $1,500 Ottoman that was junked out of the box, that's really strange. That would be weird. That has not been my experience. Not saying it couldn't happen, because obviously it has happened, but that would be something, especially if he got it from Pyramid Air. Goodness, they should have made that right 6 times over by now. Now, if they got it from a different store, that might be a different story. I don't know. But if you bought it direct from Pyramid Air, they should have had that sorted out. All right, guys, I'm going to call it. I think we've got, I apologize, I missed like so many questions tonight on my various rants and so forth. So forgive me for that. So we are going to call it. Again, I want to say thank you to you guys for watching and coming up here and just spending an hour and a bit with me tonight. Say thank you to all of my sponsors that let me come up and just do this. This isn't necessarily a sponsored show or segment. Nobody's paying me to be here tonight, and hasn't been. But it is just an opportunity for me to get to talk to you guys personally and directly about who knows what, just everything, I guess. So that's going to be it for now. My name is Rick. Thanks for watching. If you like this stuff, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Let me know what other videos you guys may want to see. And, you know, we've got content coming out like clockwork. It's all the time. So if you're not getting it, make sure you've subscribed and clicked the notification. And if you've done that and you're not getting notifications, let me know. I've heard that there's been some screwy stuff on YouTube where people aren't getting notified, which is just, Man, it makes my job that much harder. So we'll do the best we can to make sure everything gets out there. One little side on that: if you haven't been over to Airgun Army, if you don't know what this is, okay, so Airgun Army is my own little group, my own little page, and it's airgunarmy.com. And you can go here and you can join any of these topics that we have. And if you want more topics, we can certainly create topics. We can create fan topics, like if there's a particular gun topic we want to do, like a Marauder topic or an Origin or an Avenger or whatever. We can actually do it here. The beautiful thing of this platform is that this is mine. This isn't a Facebook thing. This is my platform, and we can post videos. In fact, coming up shortly, we have the opportunity to do our live shows here, which may be where we start doing things, because I can actually handle guns and do things far more proactively here and interactively here than I could ever do on YouTube. So we may be moving to this. So if you're not a member, please sign up. It's airgunarmy.com. It's super easy. And then you can post and send pictures and talk to other air gunners and just have a good time. It's sort of like the GTA, but it's far more condensed, obviously. And it works great on a mobile device. It's really designed for mobile usage. So hopefully, if you guys get on here when we start doing our live shows here, you're gonna, instant notification. You guys can be right on top of it. And we post stuff here before it goes live. So if you want to see stuff before it goes out anywhere else, you can catch it here on Airgun Army before it hits. Well, it'll hit Vimeo first, but you can catch it here first for sure. So now I'm definitely done. That's it. We're done. We're out. So guys, thank you again for watching. My name's Rick. See you next week.